Flag football is coming to the Olympics in 2028. So let's do a flag football draft. NFL Spotlight starts now. Welcome in. It is the Friday, May 23 edition of the NFL Spotlight Show, wrapping up the week here on the show. And it was a very eventful week with everything that happened over in Minnesota with the owners' meetings, a lot of moving parts. We spoke about basically all of it yesterday, but earlier in the week, we got some news which the NFL wanted, the NFLPA wanted, everybody wanted to grow the game internationally. And that was flag football coming to the Olympics in 2028 in Los Angeles. So nothing better to do here on the show today than to actually have a draft. And let me bring in my good friend Ben Allen. Ben, what's going on? This was an idea that we kind of came up with on Thursday because we realized there was not that much going on around the NFL news-wise, and we were like, this could actually be pretty fun.
Yeah, I like to give myself the credit for coming up with a lot of the fun ideas typically that we do on the slower news days. This one was all you. I have to also admit I have like unrealistically excited for this, which we're going to go back and forth. You're going to have the first pick, I'll have the second pick. If you take my first player first, I'm probably just going to shut my camera off and just call it quits because that's how into it. I've been doing the deep dive on this. You have everything off the dome. I'm going full PFF grades on you.
Great. Well, we have now looked at each other's notes or talked about what we're gonna do. I think it probably is worth noting how flag football works. I'll let you do most of the legwork, but the important part about this is like you can't pick Derrick Henry. You're not stiff arming people here in flag football. So it's a very unique way of picking players who actually fit the game. So before we actually pick the players here, just let the people here understand the differences of what a flag football game actually looks like.
Yeah, I have to admit, I did a whole lot of like diving into this because, quite frankly, I didn't really know how this is all going to work. So, for those of you who are watching, we're going to go through some of this really quickly because there are like some very basic things. Obviously, you have things like all passes must be forward and received beyond the line of scrimmage. I did learn a few things here that I was not super familiar with. Like, for instance, like we used to, out on the field a lot of times as kids, the quarterback would scramble around for a second and then take off running. Typically, that is actually not allowed in this game. So the Lamar Jackson's easy pickups like that, not going to be something you really want to go with. So the quarterback can be used as a receiver and they can hand or pitch the ball, throw it backwards to a teammate. Then they can ultimately catch the ball. They can run it from there. The also interesting thing is a maximum of 2 designated pass rushers may legally rush the quarterback, but all of them need to identify themselves with their hand raised until the snap, and they start 7 yards back. So it's going to be very important. Whoever you're pass rushing is very quick. Another thing I did not realize too is even though a lot of teams they do, have like a center or somebody who's blocking, you see that with a lot of sevens. There's some very interesting notes, which this is obviously a non-contact sport, so there's no blocking. So there's no pushing, there's no shoving, which I think adds to a lot of the fun within that. The big thing too, which it's on this sheet somewhere, is that you have 4 plays to get to midfield. And once you get that, you then have another 4 plays to get into the end zone. You also have things like there are no runs allowed within the final 5 yards of the end zone. So you're going to have some guys that are a little bit more dynamic. Handoffs as well as unlimited backward pitches. There's some fun stuff. I highly recommend going to NFLflag.com coaches/flag football rules. If you want to learn a little bit more about everything that's going off of that, we're going to be trying to work as much as we can off of this. Another interesting rule, which is going to be the case for the Olympics, is that they're not going to allow these teams to have more than 1 player from one NFL roster. So you can't have 2 guys from the Cowboys. We won't have Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, those sorts of things. So some interesting notes in there. Highly recommend going through that kind of stuff. It'll all still be set, I think, from the Olympic rosters and all that, further down the road. But this is kind of the baseline of what we're going to be working off of.
Yeah, and again, the most important NFL detail here is it's 5-on-5. This is not 11-on-11 here. So 5 offensive players, 5 defensive players. Versatility matters a lot. The guy who snaps the ball does not have to be an offensive lineman. He could immediately become a receiver. So it's
Because
very
they're not
interesting
blocking. They can't push.
They're
They
not
can't
right.
jump.
So
Yeah.
you could have, I don't know, Jamar Chase snapping the ball and then going out to become a receiver. So that's basically the basics you need to know over here about flag football. So I have the first pick here, and it's kind of funny. You're like, if I take the guy that you have, you're going to go crazy. So I'm trying to think of who that person is. I know quarterback is the most important position in football in general, but I think flag football might be a little bit different here. So this is a bit off the cuff because we haven't seen the guy in the NFL yet, but I'm going to go with Travis Hunter. I'm going to take
Wow.
yeah. I'm going to take someone who could do both things. I'm going to take the receiver and the corner here for my first pick over here. And again, I don't know if we're picking over here for 3 years away, right? Because like he'll still be
Let's do it for
young.
today. We're doing it as if it's for today.
So yeah, so we haven't really seen Travis in the NFL yet, but that's my first pick. I'm gonna take the guy who could be on both sides of the ball. And again, I also don't know. I haven't done all the full research on this. Is it only 10 players you pick and that's it? Do you have alternates on your team, a bench guy? Like I don't even know. If
So
you
it does
don't,
look like it's going to be. It looks like it's going to be 12 players, but you obviously only have 5. Typically, what I've read is it's 5 offense, 5 defense. Is kind of how they look at it. There's 2 other guys that are kind of floaters. Wait, so
so
who do you primarily using them on offense or defense?
I'm using in case of injury, I'm using him on both. I mean, if there's a world where I could use him on both, I'm using him on both. So yeah, I'm trying to get the best of both worlds here.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So my first pick is safe. I know I'm going to get comments of, oh, he's been hurt. He's getting all this, that, and the other. I want Christian McCaffrey. Running back is important in this. You want to be able to have somebody who can also catch the ball. It's not just handing the ball off. The guy is elusive. He is often considered the best receiver coming out of the backfield. So I think that's going to be a big thing. He's got a 34-yard touchdown pass in his career as well. So you've got this versatility because my roster here is going to be very important that you can do a whole lot of things. So Christian McCaffrey, you're my guy. You're the fantasy darling. I think he's going to do a whole lot for my squad.
I like it. That's a good pick for right now here in 2025. Hopefully you get the 2023 version of Christian McCaffrey for your team. But my next pick here, I'm going to stick to the receivers over here, and I'm going to go with Jamar Chase. I'm going to go with the guy who could go up and get the ball, who's very shifty, could run the entire route tree and basically just get him the ball, and it's gonna be hard to get the flag out. So I'm gonna take Jamar Chase here with my second pick here. So now I got Jamar, and I have Travis as well, and of course Travis could be used on both sides.
Okay, all right. I'm surprised this guy fell this far to me. Justin Jefferson. I mean, this is just a slam dunk. I'm getting him at the 4th pick. Running, elusive. He catches everything. Another guy, I could let him throw the ball a little bit if I want to get it to my quarterback. Do you know that he has the most pass attempts from any player that's not a quarterback since 2021? He's got 91 yards passing. It's pretty good.
Did not know that.
I'm looking versatility. So starting it off there, Christian McCaffrey and Justin Jefferson. I like it.
All right, I'm going to go over to the quarterback position here now. I'll take. So I think the NFL, if they're going to have NFL players in this, and I think again we spoke about this the other day, I think teams are going to be much harder about sending these guys there because these are their franchise guys, but they want to have an actual representative here of, what football is about, get the entire world to understand it and love it. I think Jayden Daniels is the real thing. I mean, Lamar Jackson is fun. I think he would be good for this as well. Again, you cannot run with the ball, but you have to be able to avoid the rusher and move around. So I'm not going to get somebody who's a statue there. So I like the idea of getting Jayden Daniels here on my team as well. And there are a lot of LSU guys who could be picked for this exercise. Obviously, you took Justin, I took Jamar. Now I'm taking Jayden. Malik Nabers is still out there. So yeah, I'm gonna go over here with Jayden to be my quarterback. I was kind of going back and forth with Jayden and Lamar, but I went with Jayden over here.
So this is fun for me now because we're gonna play a little strategy here. I don't need, unless you're gonna take a second quarterback. I don't need to take my quarterback right now. I'm gonna hold off for a second. And we've been neglecting the defense minus Travis Hunter and however you're deploying him. So give me the defensive player of the year, Pat Surtain. I mean, 61.1 passer rating allowed last year. Did you know he had 0 missed tackles last year? This is flag football. We got to make sure that we're pulling those flags down. But no one's going to want to go at him in the first place. Nobody's going to be targeting Pat Surtain. I'm taking away Ja'Marr Chase. I'm putting him out there saying, go out there. You've got one job, keep the ball out of his hands. Pat Surtain's the guy for that.
I like it. I like that. He was on my list of year of defensive players. I'm going to stick to offense for now. I'm not going to go away from it. So if I'm getting Jayden, I want him to have somebody who he has played with before. So I'm going to go back to Malik Nabers and get him on my team as well. So I now have my 3 receivers. I could still technically get one more, I guess, if I put Travis on the defensive side. So I have now Malik and I have Jamar. That's the LSU crew there. And Travis Hunter along with Jayden Daniels as my quarterback right now.
Okay.
I like that receiving group. It's elusive, big guys, get up and get it, could run whichever route you want them to. I like it so far.
Okay. I'm going to go back on offense now because, again, another guy, he's a little bit older, but when you just think of like you can't bring him down or he's going to get around, he's going to move, give me Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill just is the man for this. Speed. I'm going to let him just run free. I'm going to work him over the slot a little bit. So far, you haven't even focused on the defense. I don't know who you're going to be deploying out there that's going to be able to get him down, but it ain't Pat Surtain. I'll tell you that much. He's going to be on my team. So
see, the thing with my team is I'm actually thinking for 2028 and you're not. And that's the one thing over here that So that is a big difference with all of this. But I do like the Tyreek Hill pick, but he was not even on my list because I just don't think he'll be around by 2028 in the NFL. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't think he will. But that's kind of where we are with this. But I do love that pick. I still have one more offensive pick. I could take a running back here, which, you already took one, so I'll come back to it later. Let me go to the defensive side of the ball over here. I need something to rush. And, it's very interesting because you could technically go with anybody there. It doesn't have to be a pass rusher per se. But I'm going to go with Micah Parsons for my pick. I kind of like him as somebody who could rush, who could also, at Penn State, he basically did both. He was an off-ball linebacker and a pass rusher, gets to Dallas, and Dan Quinn deploys him only as a rusher. But technically, he is somebody who could do both, and I like him being the guy. He has the speed to get there with the 70-yard distance there that we talked about before. So I like Micah Parsons as the guy running in for me.
Okay. I got to count it up here. So you've got Travis Hunter, who's like an absolute mixture of things. I've got Christian McCaffrey, Justin Jefferson, Pat Surtain, Tyreek Hill. I got one more offensive player I can grab, and I'm going to grab him right here. Besides the quarterback, I'm going to take my quarterback later. I want Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson, good body, 176.7 PFF elusive grade. Never heard of that? Me neither, but I found it because it's important. It basically means you can't get this guy down. He missed tackles forced last year, 20. What's important in flag football? Being able to get that flag off. I need a guy who's going to stay away from everybody, who's going to be able to get that space, to create that extra room once he's got the ball in his hands. Garrett Wilson, to me, is just a slam dunk, under the radar pick. I think he works well. I'm going to get, I've got my other guys going around, running all over the place. Justin Jefferson's going to be doing gadget stuff. So is McCaffrey. I've got burners straight down the field with Tyreek Hill. Garrett Wilson's going to do a whole lot of stuff for me. That rounds out my skill position, guys. Still need my quarterback, but I'm very happy with a Garrett Wilson pick, 10th overall.
Yeah, I like that. So technically, could I take a second quarterback now, or I should
you want to try to screw me over? You could. You can do it. That's pretty much the thing, is you can do whatever you want with it.
But we're picking 10 guys, right? Like we're not doing
5 offense, 5 defense.
We're not doing we're not doing the alternatives though, right? So got it. So I won't do that. I'm gonna get my first corner here, and I think this is somebody who year in and year out since coming into the league has gotten better. I think he has great ball skills. And somebody who also, if you really want to, could actually play receiver as well. I'm going to go with Derek Stingley. That's going to be my pick here. He is, doesn't get talked. I mean, I know he was an All-Pro last year, but I think people still talk about Sauce more than Derek. Derek has become an outstanding corner in the NFL. Just became the highest paid corner in football this year. Great ball skills. He could actually catch the ball, which has been a problem for Sauce. So that's why Sauce is not on my team. But yeah, I'm going to go with Derek here as my first corner on my team here.
I like that. That was a guy that I had penciled him down. I didn't have him as my starter. So far, every guy that I've written down that I really wanted, I've gotten. So I feel good about this. I've got a plan. My next one though, because I see you're starting to think corner. So I'm gonna jump ahead. I'm gonna take a different corner. I had him a little lower on my list, but I want to make sure I get him. I want Marlon Humphrey of the Ravens. I want a little trash talk, and I want somebody who's going to go out there and be able to complement Pat Surtain. So Surtain's doing his own thing on an island. Marlon Humphrey, he plays the ball a little bit more. He had 18 pass play tackles last year. So when the ball is down there, he knows how to wrap them up. He still has a passer rating allowed under 70. He was top 6 in pass breakups last year. I think that he's a guy that could be my fill-in for space. So if the ball gets down, the receiver has it. I want somebody who's going to make sure they still are locking him up. But he also does a good job of keeping the ball out of the receiver's hand. So,
well, if you want trash talk, you got the wrong guy. I'm sorry to say. I'm going to get the guy who was on our show once.
Damn, I know where you're going.
Yeah, I'm going to take Kerby Joseph on my team. I mean, yeah, I'm taking it. Yeah.
That was my next pick.
All right, yeah. I mean, I think he's a perfect flag football safety with the range, the speed, the length, the ball skills. I mean, he was on our show and he said, I was Travis Hunter before Travis Hunter when I was in high school and college. So I like him for this team over here. And if you want someone who's going to spice things up over there with his mouth, with the words, there's nobody better than Kerby. And there is no dirty hits in I don't think there's dirty hits in flag football. So
it's not supposed to be any hits. That's the point.
Yeah, I know. So I'm assuming you can't rip a flag too hard. So
no.
Yeah. So I think in terms of that, people are going to be safe with Kerby.
Okay. Dang. That was my other guy I was considering. I was like, he might try to jump up. If I take the corner, he might try to jump to safety here. Okay. All right. Well, if that's the case, then that's a big blow for me because I was really banking on being able to steal Kerby. So I'm going to go out here, and this is one that you're probably not going to think of. Maybe you will, but I'm going to go rookie of the year on the defensive side last year. I'm going to go Jared Verse. So the pass rushing, I think, is going to be important in this, but not as important as you think, because again, there's no blockers in the way. So I don't necessarily need a Myles Garrett who's going to rip through guys, this, that, the other. I just need somebody who's going to get from point A to point B as fast as I can. You know how fast he ran last year? His top miles per hour chasing down Saquon Barkley? 21.6 miles per hour. I'm going to have that guy going straight at Jayden Daniels. Just beeline. But if he needs to be able to, tackle a running back, I still feel pretty good about that. So I think Jared Verse is a slam dunk kind of guy for a game like this.
I like that as well. That's a good one. Did not have him on my list for what it's worth, but I get where you're coming from on that one. So far over here, I got Stingley, and then of course I got Kerby, and I have Micah. I'm gonna go back to the defensive backs over here, and I'm gonna go. Gosh, I'm debating two guys here. I don't know if I want to go with another safety. I like Derwin James a lot. I'm going to take Derwin here as well.
Hard hitter, though.
I know, but he definitely has the ball skills as well. And I think he's also a guy who underratedly also has a good trash talking ability as well. People don't realize that. So I do like that. I think the idea of being a good trash talker should go a long way in fly. Is that good thinking by me? Like flag football?
I think so too. I think there's going to be a whole lot of it being.
I think it's a hidden thing over here you need to have as well. You can't just be the guy who just stands around and says nothing. So
it's a confidence game because it's a lot of one-on-one.
Yeah, and Derwin is as confident as he gets. So I like him as well. I was debating him and Kyle Hamilton. It was one or the other, but I think I like Derwin more.
That's a good in between too, kind of like utility guy. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna take him here because I'm worried you're gonna take him and just mess with me. If not, Lamar Jackson. I know he can't serve as a typical runner, but that's why I want a Christian McCaffrey. That's why I want a Justin Jefferson, somebody who's at least a little bit familiar throwing the ball. So it's going to be a lot of stuff behind, we're going to make sure Lamar gets the ball in his hands one way or another. Maybe I even do this. Maybe I deploy Jefferson or I deploy Christian as a quarterback on occasion, let Lamar go out, serve as a running back, serve as a wide receiver, find unique ways to get him the ball and just let him do his thing. I think that that's where you could still use Lamar Jackson, even if he can't be used as a primary runner.
I mean, I was debating Lamar or Jayden. Those were my two guys
Same.
here. Yeah. So
My
those are
my dark horse, though, this is an interesting one. Justin Herbert.
Justin.
You know who has
Why?
who has the most catches of quarterbacks in the last like 3 years? Justin Herbert. Would not have pegged that.
He's
Big
not
dude,
debating
big
that
arm.
pressure.
You know, that's the other thing too, is like, who hasn't played flag football or out there as a kid, and you just have one dude, you're just like, go route. You just tell him, run as far as you can, as fast as you can, and I'll try to have somebody can hit it. That's what Herbert does. Just let him sling it.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but no, I want someone who's able to move around better than that. So, he would not have been in my top 5 there.
You got
all
2
right,
picks left. We both got 2 picks left.
Yeah, so I'm debating here. Technically, also, you don't have to take a running back. You can just go with all receivers, right?
No.
So that's the interesting thing about this as well. And let me see. So the running back I want to take is Bijan, and I think that's where I'm gonna go with this. I think again, you want your running back to be able to also catch the ball, and of course, Bijan has that ability. So I'm gonna go with Bijan. I was debating Saquon. I was debating Jahmyr Gibbs here as well. McCaffrey was on my list, but I'm gonna go with Bijan Robinson here as well. And I think Bijan is the type of player that, as the years go on, he's getting better and better. And his game's getting better and better. So if I'm still thinking with that 2028 mindset, I think by then he'll be the best running back in football. So I like that pick a lot.
I love you're just going future. I'm going current. We'll say.
I mean, I took Derwin though, which again I didn't want. So just the FYI, before I picked Derwin, the person I was considering was Christian Gonzalez as well, which is going back.
I thought about Christian Gonzalez too. I think Christian Gonzalez right now is a good pick. We'll talk about more of some of the guys we considered. I'm filled up right now on offense. I've already got my 5 guys down. So now I need to round out that defense just a little bit. I'm going to hit you with another guy. I don't know if he immediately would come to mind, but I think is a good fit for flag football. Zack Baun out of Philadelphia. I want somebody who is a tackling machine. I want a guy who's going to get that flag off. And he has the ability to drop back. He had the highest PFF grade coverage-wise as a linebacker last year. Still had 3.5 sacks. So I think he could be a guy that fills that middle role. Kind of works a little bit like a slot coverage guy, because I imagine that there's going to be dudes running over the middle. If we do need a little bit extra help trying to get, because you're allowed to have 2 pass rushers. So if I pair him with Jared Verse, I feel pretty good about that. And then I've still got on the back end, I've got guys like Marlon Humphrey and I've got Pat Surtain.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I mean, I was thinking about taking an actual linebacker. I was thinking about Fred Warner. Zach is in that category. I just don't want to take linebackers. I don't think that's I like Micah because of his ability to rush. But traditional linebackers were not necessarily guys I was looking to take. And again, I'm not a flag football expert. I mean, I'm sure there's better strategy to this than us just throwing out names out there. But I was not thinking of taking a traditional linebacker here for my team. So I'm gonna avoid that. I like to pick if you were gonna pick a linebacker, I like Zach a lot, especially with the coverage ability. But I'm gonna go back to a guy who's in the secondary, and it was the 2 guys I was debating at the end. It was Kyle Hamilton and Christian Gonzalez. I'm gonna go with Christian because I already have 2 safeties on the team with Kerby and Derwin. So I'm going to take Christian Gonzalez to round out the team over here. Again, similar to Derek Stingley, I think just somebody who is a really, really good corner, good ball skills, one of the better ones in the NFL. Not necessarily talked about like that yet in the NFL as the best cornerback in football. Both these guys are going to be that if they are not already. So I like that. Surtain is the number 1 guy in the NFL right now, but these guys are right behind them.
And I'm going to take the other guy you mentioned, Kyle Hamilton, Swiss Army knife. Play him at safety, play him at corner. You know, it's flag football. These dudes are going to be running all over the place. He can kind of do a little bit of everything. He can even rush the passer if he needs to. So maybe I keep Zack Baun there. I let Kyle kind of sneak up a little bit. Yeah, I like this.
Chess piece. It's a good chess piece.
So going back here now, we'll go back and forth here. First, Travis Hunter. Second, Christian McCaffrey. Third, Jamar Chase. Fourth, Justin Jefferson. Fifth, Jayden Daniels. Sixth, Pat Surtain. 7, Malik Nabers, 8, Tyreek Hill, 9, Micah Parsons, 10, Garrett Wilson, 11, Derek Stingley Jr., 12th, Marlon Humphrey, 13th, Kerby Joseph, 14th, Jared Verse, 15th, Derwin James, 16th, Lamar Jackson, 17th, Bijan Robinson, 18th, Zack Baun, 19th, Christian Gonzalez, and 20th, Kyle Hamilton. Who are some of the other guys that you were considering?
Well, I was thinking of, ready for this completely off the cuff one, Jeremiah Smith. Yeah. Let's go. Again, I was thinking 2028. I think Jeremiah Smith, as soon as he gets drafted, is going to become a stud in the NFL as a receiver. So I had him on my list. I was thinking, I don't think it makes as much sense anymore, but initially, early on, when it was announced earlier this week, when you have to have somebody snap the ball, then become an eligible receiver, I was kind of thinking of Brock Bowers, but no, I didn't like that anymore. But he was on my list a little bit as well. So those were the guys. And I was thinking with the pass rush guy, I was thinking Myles Garrett at one point, but then I was like, nah, I'm not going to go with somebody who exclusively does that, which is why I went with Micah Parsons. So those were some of the other guys here on my list. But the Travis Hunter one is just interesting because of the element of all the things he could do. And if I didn't take Travis, by the way, I was also thinking of Brian Thomas Jr. in the receiver section there. But of course, same team with the Jaguars, you can't do that. So
other names that popped into me, Jahmyr Gibbs was one that I think is just he's another guy that if you don't go with one of those guys, I think you go with him. Yeah. Nick Bonito is another dude that I think would be super hybrid good for this. My thinking, another spotlight guest, actually, another guy I was thinking about, if you just want a sure tackling machine, Zaire Franklin, I think is another dude, versatile. Denzel Ward, lockdown kind of corner. I think that's a good one. Brian Branch, a lot of versatility. AJ Brown, big body receiver, no drops last year. Xavier McKinney, another guy that we've had.
That was the other one. That was the other one, McKinney.
Yeah. I was between McKinney and Hamilton. I think Hamilton just has a little bit more flexibility, which is why I ultimately went with him there in that 20th pick. I don't know. I feel pretty good about these. I got everyone I wanted except for Kerby Joseph on my initial list.
I love it. I had a feeling you wanted Kerby. I mean, because we both obviously just love the dude. I mean, probably one of the best episodes we've had, and just how great he was last year, the ball skills he had, led the league in interceptions. The trash talk element is definitely a part of this as well. So I love that pick for my team. So this is a fun exercise. I mean, there's a whole different conversation which we had earlier this week about just the elements of flag football and coaches allowing it and the potential for a fluke injury and all these different things that could happen. It's right before training camp. There's actual professional flag football players who believe they are better than the NFL players. That's a whole different discussion.
I considered taking one just to see what you would say.
I knew you would. I'm sure you would. I mean, one of the guys was on TV this week saying he's better than Patrick Mahomes. I mean, it's just, So, it's interesting. So whenever the time comes, there's that element of it. There's also the element of, are you going to play for Team USA? I mean, we spoke, our guy, Amon-Ra St. Brown, could play for Team Germany.
I was thinking about picking him for that exact reason, but then I was like, oh, of course I'm going to get our St. Brown account being like, well, actually, Germany is going to be the one that you want to go after.
You're going to have Tommy DeVito playing for Team Italy. I mean, you're going to have all these different things going on over here come 2028. But it's fun. I mean, this is a great way to grow the game and get the world stage to realize what USA American football is all about. Not the football for soccer, but American football. So
I'm also going to say one other thing, because I realized that I did break one of my own rules. I took 3 Ravens when you're supposed to only have 1 per team. We're going to let that part slide.
I just realized that also. Yeah, I should have caught you on that. Yeah.
I realized that after I was like, oh, that was a little biased.
Yeah, I played by the rules. I could safely say that.
Although you didn't think about the fact that we were supposed to be doing it from this year.
Well, I did.
Well, you were thinking 3 years.
Oh! I thought you meant because of Jeremiah Smith. Sorry. Yes, I know what you mean now. Yes.
Yeah. I'm surprised you didn't have any high schoolers that you were like, man, I'm really high on this guy coming out of South Texas.
He might be relevant in 2028. You never know. So yeah, it's this was a fun exercise though. But once we get to it's like, I don't know if you've read up on all like the details of it, Ben, but like there's also the element of teams, the countries to qualify. USA is qualified no matter what, but like Team Germany, we're not even sure if they're going to qualify yet. So if Amon-Ra St. Brown actually wants to make it, he has to hope that these German players are able to get through in 26 or 27, whatever year it is, through the qualifying round. So there's a lot of moving parts with all of this, but it's going to be here in a blink of an eye. Like, we're in 2025 right now, but 2020 will be here soon enough. So
hey, they're going to take Equanimous and they're going to take Osiris. Osiris is coming out of retirement. We're going to get the 3 St. Brown brothers all playing.
Hey, Team Serbia and Nikola Jokic almost beat USA this year. You never know.
This is very true. All it takes is just like one dominant player to be able to change everything in a game.
Exactly. So it's fun. Yeah. It's fun. It's a fun exercise. We'll see who actually ends up playing here once we get to 2020. There are some NFL players who badly want it. I'm sure their coach is like, please don't do it. But we will find out eventually here what ends up happening. But that was a fun exercise. Let us know which roster you like better. Let us know what you would switch. Let us know if we missed any players. Let us know in the comments. Make sure you rate, review, and subscribe here on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you are listening to us. And that will do it here for our Friday, May 23 edition of the NFL Spotlight Show. We will be back here on Monday morning talking more about what is actually happening in the NFL, all the latest news and headlines, and we will see you then.